All right, it's time to talk about all the fun and exciting things going down this week in Reddit. And boy, fun and exciting talking, not just in Reddit, it's all over the place. That Cowboys game, huh? There's a lot of people ready to burn the Lions van down to the ground after that one, Riz.
Oh, yeah, that was tough to watch, honestly.
Why do you find it tough? Why did you find that one tough?
Well, one of the problems was that there's too many of you people cheering for Dallas in the stands in Ford Field. That bugged me a lot. Hearing the defense chat when the Lions had the ball. That bothered me a lot. When the fans erupted when Tony Pollard scored, that bothered me a lot sitting at home watching it, listening to it. The fact that Ford Field sold out. First off, why the hell were we wearing road whites? That is the stupidest decision ever. It was the first time since 1970. I wasn't even born in 1970, and I'm freaking old. That bugged me a lot that they wore white at home. It bugged me that the Cowboy fans were everywhere. Look, I get that if you have tickets and you want to resell them, that people from Dallas are probably going to pay more than people from Detroit. I get that. I do.
I will tell you a couple stories because I was there. I was there cheering for defense while the Lions hit the. No, I wasn't. I was just joking with that. You'll actually just really quick. You'll see some amazing video from the experience there and how us real Lions fans were acting up in the suite. But
did it bother you there?
Yeah, we talked about it a lot. It was really bothersome. But here's what happened. This is a little bit of the Lions' own doing. They have this variable ticket pricing thing, right? So they sell your tickets at different amounts every time. And so when you go to resell your tickets, it winds up the Dallas game was the very, very best game to maximize. It was the highest resale value you're going to get on your tickets.
And that makes sense. So the Dallas Cowboys, their fans are everywhere. They travel. I have seen them in person. I saw them in Houston. And they outnumbered Texans fans. Now, I thought some of that was proximity. Some of that was the fact that the Texans are still fairly new and weren't very good when I saw them there. But yeah, it's They are a draw for sure.
Yeah, and so if you're a Lions fan right now, you're sitting here thinking, hey, this isn't really the season that's going to do it. This team isn't. Oh, Matthew Stafford isn't playing today. Oh, I bought a whole season's worth of tickets and I could recoup my losses better on this game than any other game. It kind of feels like this is when I'm going to make my move. That's why you heard that. It was unfortunate. It hurt. I'll tell you, I've talked about it with the guys in the suite a couple times. I kept saying it, and they were probably sick as shit of me. But it reminded me. I thought back to when I went to the Tampa game here in Tampa, and we were 2 rows behind the bench, and we just started getting "Let's Go Lions" going. You heard it on TV. We felt proud as hell of the accomplishment. Right? It was great to get that going on. And then the Jets game happened last year. Remember, with the JETS in our stanza.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, I feel horrible for the folks in Tampa. I have this sudden connection with how much of an a-hole I really was, and that we were there, right? How much it just you're crapping on people in their own home, right? So that was no good. And then to have it happen now while I was here in Detroit and see the whole thing with the with the Dallas thing. You could tell though before the game, I'm not even kidding, when I was walking in, they opened the doors to the suite 2 hours before. I was walking in and I saw more Dallas jerseys by a large number than I saw Lions jerseys. Wow. And I was wow.
So I have not been to a Lions game, and that's issue. I have been a road fan at LCA when my Cavaliers were there, because I'm a huge Cleveland Cavaliers fan.
Sure.
My family, we go to the Rockets game the one time they're in Detroit every year. We go there. We're wearing red.
Mm-hmm.
We're Rockets fans. We're respectful of it. We're aware that we're in Detroit.
Yeah.
But if we do cheer too loud, there will be people who will be like, sit the fuck down.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that. And it didn't seem like there was any of that in Ford Field. And that bothered me. I know now maybe if the numbers were that overwhelming.
Buddy. We were outnumbered. I'm not kidding. It was insane. When they started the Let's Go Cowboys chat, all we could get is people cheering, and it was like equal volume. People going, "Ah!" right?
Yeah.
We're equal volume of a chant. It was bad news. There's a lot of folks there. And again, I'm going to put it on the team. And, this is one for Rod Wood. An opportunity to rethink that variable pricing structure.
Yeah, and I had a conversation with Sandman on Twitter about it. I'm sure you, since he was sitting next to you, probably talked to you about it quite a bit.
We were sitting on each other's lap, but go ahead.
I knew it. Knew it. Sexy.
It was. He was so good. He was.
I don't want to see. I don't want to begrudge the fans who sold their tickets to Dallas, because I get that you're trying to maximize your money. My dad had Ohio State season tickets forever. He always sold either Michigan or Notre Dame when they started playing Notre Dame,
because it paid for him.
It paid for the entire season and then some.
Yeah.
I get that. I do, but God, it's from a fan perspective, it's really annoying.
It's hard,
and maybe some of that was with Ohio State because it was never opposing fans. There was always enough people to buy it. And I guess the fact that there aren't enough Lions fans who are interested in seeing the team.
They're not interested in seeing Jeff Driscoll play against the Dallas Cowboys at this point in this season. It's exactly what it is. People are going to the game and having a good time, but they're just not interested in spending that kind of money right now, especially when they can recoup a big chunk of that season ticket price. I don't blame them. I understand. The reason it all focused and all came together on one game is the high travel rate of Dallas and the high price that people could command. Sandman sold his seats, and he made a significant sum of money for the seats he sold. It didn't pay for the suite, but it was cool. He did well.
And Sandman, I don't fault you for that, but at the same time, it's still it's a visceral reaction on my part, and I can't get past it. I just can't.
I mean, how would you feel if you were you're the friend of a guy who got a suite and gave away all the suite tickets, but gave you the regular seat tickets? You're like, you're a friend, but you're not a sweet friend. You're a seat friend, right?
Yeah.
You gotta sell them. You can't do that. So I want to talk about it really quick. This suite and stadium experience. I've been in a suite for the Quick Lane Bowl. I have not been there for a Lions game, so I'm curious as to how opulent it was for you. So the Lions were absolutely fabulous to start out.
That's great to hear.
Talk to Eamon again. They allowed me to bring in a camera and microphone. They're going to let us do. We were planning to do the post game and a pregame and a halftime show there, but there's broadcast rights for the live broadcasts out of there, and they're covered in the contract says no and so he said, hey, we'll let you bring the equipment, but you can't do it live. And I'm like, the post-game show is kind of predicated on doing calls and having that interaction. I guess we could have recorded it and then put it out, but it's a lot of equipment to bring to make that all happen. So I was like, maybe I'll just do video. And I was thinking maybe we could do like a vlog, a day in the life of or whatever. And they're like totally cool. So I had to bring a video camera, a really crack shot mic, a nice little stick and tripod and the whole thing. And I had to get a special letter, and security looked at me at the door. They looked, okay, yep. Oh yeah, this is the guy they talked about. Okay. Eamon completely made that happen. The security guard took me. So I parked like right across the street from the gate. Never even put a sweatshirt on. It's 30 degrees outside. I'm wearing a t-shirt and some jeans, right? Walk across the street, get in. They take care of me. The security guard escorts me like 50 paces to the private elevator, right? Up the private elevator, they're waiting for you at the top. How you doing? Welcome. Oh yeah, you're sweet. 30 paces down the hallway, and it's right there. Boom. I felt like it's a longer trip from my car in the driveway to get to my office in the house than it was to park and go into Ford Field and get to the suite. It was crazy. So got to the suite. That's amazing. Yeah. Got to the suite and great food. Completely amazing setup. Completely. You got, I think it's about 12 seats in the front. You got a bar of seats. There's all kinds of food. It was just great. It was absolutely great. Got a bunch of great video shots. Malcolm showed up. Remember Malcolm?
Oh, I love Malcolm. Yeah, he made it.
He made it. We had a great time, man. Big boy is my pal. We got him. We got let's see, Perrier Poppy. I'm not sure you know him. I love this guy.
I don't think I've met him.
He's an amateur boxer. Has a lot of fun doing that. He also owns Fresh Life Q, I think is the brand. My man came. He was I wish I could carry off what he was wearing because he looked so fucking sharp, man. People would laugh at me if I tried to dress in cool clothes like that, right? But he's freaking my hero. He was there. We had let's see, Sandman, Jim Young dropped by. I know you've interacted with him on Twitter. He was our first winner that we've ever done in a giveaway. What would you do for Lions hat? And he stopped by for a while, shot this. It was great.
That's great.
And then Jeff Gerfick from the Patreon crew won the suite, and we hung out and had a blast. We even shot every touchdown. We shot. You remember the commercials they do for what's it called? The NFL, the excitement where they get the people and they show the touchdown and they go back to the people.
Yeah.
Ah, look at you.
Yeah.
We emulated that on every touchdown. And in the end, you got Malcolm waving the flag out of the suite because they give you a big Lions flag. You had to wave it on the stick out of the side of the suite. It was pretty cool. So it was fun. I got like 3 or 4 different ones. We'll put all those videos up. I did a quick suite tour. We'll put that up on the YouTube here this week too. But there's a lot of all shot. I did it in 2K instead of 4K just because the stabilization is better. But anyway, they let me bring all that stuff in. They don't let people bring that kind of stuff in. And
that you got special treatment there. Yeah, that's nice.
It's Sandman and Mike Wadowski over there with the Lions, working with Eamon. Sandman, I can't say enough about setting this up, man. He's the coolest dude in the world. I kept saying I have never in my life met as great a group of people as I've met since I started doing this. It's freaking crazy, Riz.
Seriously.
I mean,
the people that come out to our party every year, the people that we interact with on the Slack and Twitter, and people who've come out and met me at places that I've been here in the Grand Rapids area for the radio work that I do. It's awesome. It really is.
And it's over a team that hasn't won anything forever, right? I mean, if there's something, right. I felt it the second I got in town. I always go to Bates right away because it's a slider joint. I love it. I grew up as a kid getting them, so I just kind of like, it's the one thing. Hit that place. Just everywhere I go, though, people, they talk to you. And I never recognized it living there, but there's this common bond that Detroiters have. I don't know if it's a shared experience of, well, I'll tell you, it is. People in Detroit know how to work hard, and they know they've had to. Right? That's just like, I've been in LA. I've been in. I spent a little time in San Fran and down in Florida now. People aren't like that, man. People aren't like the Detroit people anywhere else. I've never seen them, and
it's very different. Even I live in Holland. I work in Grand Rapids primarily. I've lived in Cleveland. I've lived in Richmond, Virginia. I've lived in Houston. I've lived in Columbus, Indianapolis. Detroit is different.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah,
it is different.
And better.
And as somebody who's from outside it, and really the Lions are the only Detroit team that I really care about all that much. I watch just about every Pistons game, so I'm into that. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm into it. Yeah. But it is different. I can tell there are things where I just don't get it because I'm not Detroit. My wife is Detroit, but I'm not. And yeah,
we'll accept you, Jeff. That's one of the things we do, right? I tell you, in living in all these places that were so great, I need to get back to Detroit at least for half the year. I need to get back. I notice it the second I get there every time. It's such a great city.
We've got great beer. I'm enjoying an Electron Brown from M43 tonight. Very, very good espresso bean double brown ale.
Nice. I am going the healthy route.
Follow me for my beer.
I'm going the healthy route with my truly hard seltzer tonight. Wow. Yeah, we're wild berry crazy. Anyway, so no, great experience. Sandman, again, we got plans for you. We'll take care of that in a bit there. All right, so let's talk about the game itself. And thank you, everyone, for indulging us. Jeff Driscoll show. A week of practice, and this guy's ready to the Hall of Fame, right?
He does not suck.
No, he doesn't at all. I said that obviously tongue in cheek, but maybe third ballot. He's looking really good. He's looking really good for a week's practice with this team.
Keep in mind the Dallas defense is really good.
Mm-hmm.
They're really good.
Mm-hmm.
The Chicago defense that he played in the first week with 2 days of practice is really good.
Mm-hmm.
They are the Bears suck. That's because their offense is worse than ours. Well, they're worse than just about everybody's offense.
Yeah, I was gonna say our offense isn't terrible.
Our offense is pretty darn good this year, even with Driscoll.
Yeah.
There are limitations that Jeff Driscoll has. He does not have the pinpoint accuracy when he unloads the fireball.
Yep.
I think that I'm sure that showed, because I remember I saw him play in college at Louisiana Tech, and I saw him play at the Senior Bowl. He does not have, he can't like grip it and rip it and be accurate like Stafford and fit the ball into the small windows.
Right.
But he can throw on the run. He's got a decent arm.
He had a couple in the dirt on the run, but you're right. Yeah. He can mostly throw on the run. But the thing he brings that we don't get as much with Stafford is that speed. Holy crap, man. That guy, when he gets a haul on, he gets a haul on. He could have been the fastest guy in the field, I think.
So, next gen stats, he does have the fastest time of any Lion over the last season.
Mm-hmm.
He ran 21.3 miles per hour. That's faster than anybody else on the team.
I completely believe that. He was hauling. Now, there's something, and I'm gonna. You can tell me I'm wrong here, because I'm okay with this, but this is my diagnosis. There was a couple of plays where he would roll out, right? Pressure came through, line gave up. He'd roll out to the outside, and he had 10 yards to run, 8 yards to run. He had space to go. And I watch, and he would look to the sideline. He was looking to see where the line of scrimmage was, and he was trying to get the throw off, and he'd hesitate, and then maybe he'd run and get a yard or two, or he'd miss a throw and had to throw it out of bounds or whatever. But I think that penalty from the week before, to end the game where he threw when he was across the line, I think that's in his head. And I think one of the things that's hurting Driscoll still right now, and it's early, but is that he's got to think too much. He's not reacting. He's still thinking his way through the game, and that's slowing some of the decision making. There was at least 4 plays that I feel like he could have just taken off and gotten a number of yards.
Yeah, and that's interesting, because I got to watch him last year when he was the starting quarterback for Cincinnati at the end of their season. They played the Browns, and I interviewed a Bengals writer, Chris Rowling, by the way, from Bengals Wire, is a really good dude. We talked about how he was a guy who often got paralyzed by analysis.
Yeah,
he was a guy who just couldn't let it go. Let it go. You got to be able to sometimes just take that risk. He is very risk averse. He always has been. That was one of the issues that he had at Florida, was that he wouldn't do the things that Tebow did, the stupid jump passes and I'll just throw it up and let Aaron Hernandez go get it. And that, right. He's not that kind. I don't think he doesn't have that mentality, but I'm hopeful that the more that he plays and the more that he sees that his team can thrive with that, I think he'll do it, because he knows the offense he's got. First off, Taylor Decker had a rotten game. After a couple of really good weeks, he had a bad game. Now Dallas is
great.
Rod Marinelli is their defensive line coach, and it shows. We all remember Rod. We hate him for being a head coach, but as a defensive line teacher and tactician, there's nobody better. Yeah. There might not ever have been anybody better than him. And it shows when you watch the Dallas Cowboys play. They knew exactly how to attack the offensive line.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes you got to tip your hat to the other team. Yes, could we have done better? Absolutely.
But
they deserve some credit too.
Let me push towards the outcome of the game here.
Right.
Because we're sitting there beforehand, and everyone was like, "Not a chance, right? This is going to be ugly, right?" We're playing the Cowboys, who are on a high, who are a good team, right? And we're playing Driscoll. 50% of our offense and 50% of our defense is injured, right? I mean, we're not even. Yep. We're playing our second string team, a second string Lions team against a very, very good team in the Dallas
team
Cowboys.
That will win the NFC East.
Yeah,
no question,
absolutely,
no question.
And we lost by a score. And we
were a one-score game.
Yeah. And that is the thing that's what I think. My wife and I were talking about this. She's like, we used to get blown out. And I used to be, if we were just in it, if we were just in the game, I'd care. This year, we've been in every game but one, and it's more frustrating than getting blown out all year. We've come to kind of acknowledge that. What do you think?
So we are close. Yeah. And we talked about it a little bit beforehand, and we'll get into it now. We are so close to being a team that can win all these games.
Yeah.
We've had lead in every game. We're one of 3 teams that has led in every game.
The other teams have much better records, though. They managed to lead at the end.
Just a little bit, yeah. Some of that is, it's hard to reconcile that because last year the defense was the reason why we were close in most games, and the offense was the problem. This year, our offense has been really good, even without we have the utter inability to run the ball. And some of that is running back injuries. Some of that is offensive line shuffling.
I would say more. And I'm sorry. I don't want to jump in and interrupt you, but I'm going to. I apologize.
Please do.
The offensive line. I want to kind of. We can talk about this maybe more next week, or if you want to jump in this week. I want to blame our running backs' choice of where they're running, the hole they're trying to pick, versus the offensive line's ability to run block.
I have not rewatched this game. I will tell you that was Kerryon Johnson's problem. He had terrible vision this year. It regressed from his rookie season.
Is this our running backs coach? I'm just wondering because it wasn't just one player that was missing the hole.
There's
so to speak.
Okay, so this was one of Bo Scarborough's issues why he fell in the draft. Because he did not have vision at Alabama. He's a giant dude. He's hard to tackle once he gets 2 or 3 steps going. The problem is that he could run into the back of his right guard. He did a lot at Alabama. Kerryon Johnson's been doing a lot of that. I think you saw that. He has some good when he gets those 2 or 3 steps going. He's a fun guy to watch. He's a load, man. If he doesn't get that, he's in a lot of trouble. He's going down hard.
If you've never played football, even backyard football. When you get the guy who's a little bigger than everybody else in the field, once he gets his 3rd step, tackling him is always from the side or behind. You never, ever come head on because you will get freaking trained, right? I mean, there's
he's bigger than LeGarrette Blount was.
Yeah, and he's a
big hombre.
And Zeke is funny like that too. I mean, he's not quite big like that, but he's a
well-built dude.
Yes, and
you see why he wears the crop top because he's shredded, man.
Yep.
In fact, I'd never wear a shirt ever.
You do not want to take him on head on if he's had 3 steps, right? It's just forget about it. So it's interesting. Yeah, Bo was an impressive. I mean, it was funny. He wasn't even on the card. It's over there. We'll get it. He wasn't even on the on the card for the game, right? He was just a pickup that day. I mean, we had nobody in the field, and we're within 1 score. God, it's every game and against good teams. It's got to be coming. And this is one of the things where I find it interesting this year how many people are abandoning the team or just absolutely just throwing in the towel and saying, I got some college football, I got some chores around the house. Hey, hockey's on. And they're skipping the Lions altogether. It actually stuns me a little bit because it's not I don't want to say it's not a surprise, but it's a team that's not been good in a long time. You should kind of expect it. Football's still fun to watch and you're seeing things. I'm seeing things from this team that are showing me really, really good.
They're close. Yeah. They really are close. They're close this year.
When are the wins going to come, though, Riz? Is it
right? And can what? So I think we're both in agreement that Matt Patricia will be back next year and Bob Quinn will be back next year.
I would say right now they'll be back 2 more years, to be honest.
Yeah, I will certainly give them next year.
With the CBA and everything, I don't think that's the time you change.
I completely agree. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to see very few coaches move this offseason and very few general managers. I think you're going to see a lot of status quo going into next year. Mm-hmm. Whether that's good or bad for teams, we'll see. I wish that Matt Patricia would learn from his mistakes on defense. And that's because I do think that just 2 or 3 more well-timed, well-schemed blitzes just to make the offense worry about you, I think would go so far into making this team. I'm not going to say that it would make them win, but it would make them a lot tougher to beat.
Yeah, no, I don't.
And they're so close already. They are 2 or 3 plays away every week, and you see the plays, and you can point to the plays in every game where it's there for them and they don't make it.
Yeah.
Every week. And it's almost always on defense this year. Last year was almost always on offense.
Yeah. And
it's so frustrating.
I go back to you kind of lean one side or the other on a team every year as being the better side of the ball, and you're relying on that to win the games. the offense this year was meant to not only win the games, but give the defense a break, right? And there's a lot of times they're not able to do that. They don't have the players on the field, right, to be able to do that. And the guys on the D are getting tired. But the other thing, let's talk really quick, and we didn't talk about this before the show, but it's a hot topic. Paul Pasqualoni. I'll just put it out there, and you can shoot it down or do whatever you want with it. Everyone's screaming, fire him, fire him, fire him, fire him, fire him. Okay, well, firing him right now isn't going to do you any good. You're not going to gain a single thing. And
you are 10 games into the season.
You have more to lose. The other thing I want to acknowledge is last year, Matt Patricia gave Jim Bob Cooter all the freedom in the world. He was sitting over on the sideline with the defense, coaching the defense last year and letting Jim Bob do his thing. This year, he's not running the defense, coaching. He did in this Cowboys game. He spent some time over there, but he hasn't been coaching the defense. It's been Pasqualoni's defense, right? Paul's not doing it. And you talk about it's the Matt Patricia defense, or whatever. He's not doing the in-game coaching this year. That's, I think, part of why we're seeing a little bit of a regression here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you, Paul Pasqualoni is going to be gone this year, but he's going to retire. He's going to retire. They're friends. They're going to let him leave with his dignity. You know what I mean? And say, I've had enough. And I think that's fair. I think that's fair. You may be an angry fan. That's fine. But this kind of thing, you let people keep their dignity and move on. There's no good in ripping somebody on the way out. There's nothing to be gained from doing that. As a matter of fact, it may hurt your chances of finding good talent in the future. So I think that's how that's going to play out. Now, let's not forget, though, Pasqualoni, Ken Platt, Math Bomb, he had put it out there. Literally anybody else would have been a good hire. And I'm like, okay, I'll accept that premise, but not literally anybody else. Tell me who. Because it was so late in the season trying to find somebody, defensive coordinator, when we brought Pasqualoni in. Who's the guy? Tell me a name of who would be better. And well, anybody, or any other available college, but no, who? Right? And nobody can name somebody. So what we had is Patricia went with somebody he trusted and knew, and he was going to run the defense and effectively, I think, teach it to Pasqualoni so that he could then year 2, 3, 4, and onward run the team. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that was his plan. I think it's not going the way he wanted to this year. And I think Pasqualoni will retire, and there's going to be a real heavy search for a defensive coordinator and this is where I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because Patricia's a smart guy, runs a great defense. He's a great mind. Is he truly going to let that go, or is he going to hire a protege? And that's where that'll be really interesting. We're built for him to hire a protege. That's the talent. I think so, as we pick up. Who he hires is going to tell us what we're going to do in the draft on defense, I think. Whether we continue down his kind of road, or if we take a look and say we're so jacked at linebacker, then we have to change the defense up and play a little different scheme. That's okay. With that, I'll shut up and let you rip it apart or disagree.
So I'm with you on Paul Pasqualoni. He will not be back. I am curious, will he dip into his Parcells roots? And I'm going to say Parcells over Belichick because I have seen a lot more Parcells tendencies from Patricia than I have Belichick.
Interesting. Hadn't thought of that.
And I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I will say that is it seems like he operates the Lions more like Belichick operated specifically the Jets when he was there, but also the Patriots at the end of his time there. Not so much the Giants time, Parcells.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Giants time Parcells was the good Parcells, right?
It really was. He was a very average head coach without Bill Belichick running his defense. I wonder if he will learn from hiring outside on offense with Darrell Bevell, a guy that he respected from afar but didn't know. Will he have that confidence to turn the defense over, to get a guy who isn't going to have the same sight lines that he does, but somebody who sees things from a different perspective? Will he go for, I'm going to say Jim Schwartz because he's a different guy, although he is technically a Belichick guy. Yeah. He's more of a Jim Johnson defensive guy.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to be gone from Philadelphia, and I don't think he'd come back to Detroit to be a defensive coach. It'd be cool. It's not going to. I will use him as the example, though.
Sure.
Would he bring in a guy like that, who he's not worked with before, who has a different idea of how to play defense? It's worked on offense. And I do think that Patricia recognizes that. I really do. And I've gotten the impression from the players too that, like, you know what, he really likes what Darrell Bevell has done, and he wouldn't have done that on his own. Right. That was something that he had to let it go. He learned from his rookie mistakes as a rookie head coach. I hope that he realizes that on defense, because I do think, well, the familiarity is nice. He needs somebody that hasn't worked under Romeo Crennel, that hasn't worked under Bill Belichick, somebody who's from the outside. And I think that would do him wonders. Terrell Austin will probably be available. I don't think Terrell Austin's coming back to Detroit, and I don't think we'd really want him back. There will be guys out there. And again, everybody's going to look to Houston, to Tennessee, to New England, to Atlanta, where there are, you know, all the proteges of Belichick and their GMs that they've had there aside from Belichick. I don't think they're going to do that, and I hope they don't do it. I hope they go somewhere else and they bring up a young, growing defensive mind, a creative guy. Mm-hmm. And I don't have a real good grasp of who those guys are, to be honest with you. I haven't looked that hard yet.
Not yet.
But I hope that they go outside and look for that. I'll tell you one guy, I wouldn't mind seeing Chris Kassir come back.
Oh, no, because we need a little bit of clean language over there. We need some that
you gotta beat his ass. That was his entire coaching loop at the Senior Bowl for like 2 hours every day. Oh, you gotta beat his ass. Chewing tobacco flying everywhere.
Yep.
But they need, and I do think that Patricia will understand and respect the need to not have yes men around him.
Right.
Because I think you see in football and in life outside football that having people who only are acquiesce to your point of view and who don't challenge you on things, it makes for a very tough football team. It makes for a very tough country, as we're seeing right now. It makes for a very tough world, as we see right now. And I think Patricia is smart enough to realize that. And I also think Matt Patricia, yes, he does have an ego, but I also think that he realizes that his ego can grow by showing that he is magnanimous, that showing that he can, you know what, I'm adapting. I got this. It will make me look better if we succeed this way than trying to do it my way. And instead of going 9-7, maybe we can go 11-5 and host a playoff game.
And
I really do think that Matt Patricia sees it that way.
Yeah. And I think I want to add a couple things here. Number one, if he hires somebody who's in his mold and in his tree, I don't think that's necessarily off the top a bad thing. It's the players we have, that sort of thing. If he hires somebody like a Bevell who's from a different kind of, and under that's fine. It doesn't mean he doesn't believe in his defense either, or thinks they need to make a massive change. Right.
I agree with that.
What we have with Matt Patricia is a rookie coach. It's his second year. Okay. He evolved away from running the defense this year. And I think that's why we have the defense we do. We're going to see changes. What Matt Patricia is learning in this time is how to be a head coach versus a position coach with a whole lot of other responsibilities. And as a fan base, if we can't recognize that, just like a rookie that we bring in the draft, like Hawkinson, right? He's not torn it up this year. In 2 years and 3 years, I bet that guy's going to be ripping the field up. I think a little bit of 1 year of NFL conditioning is going to be great for this kid, and I think he's going to continue to get better and better and better and better. And I'm not down on him in any stretch of the imagination, but
I'm not either.
A rookie needs time to grow and learn, right? And that's what we're getting with this coach. And the Browns had that with Bill Belichick. And they didn't wait around for him to grow.
Saw it firsthand.
They didn't develop the coach. Matt Patricia is also a coach that, I don't care what you say, his defense has adjusted all the time throughout his tenure in the Patriots as a defensive coordinator. He's obviously adjusted his role year over year. Just how he dealt with the media, he's adjusted. He's analyzed and made changes. The idea that he's not going to continue to do that and evolve into his role, this tells you have a coach who can learn, who's introspective, and who's making the steps in the right direction to be a head coach. And I think it would be absolutely foolish to give up on a guy like this. Is not
he's not Hugh Jackson. He's not in over his head. He's
their offensive
not
coordinator, McDaniels.
Jim, Josh McDaniels when he was in Denver.
Yeah, he's not him. Right?
That was bad.
Yeah.
That was really bad.
He has some limited pieces to work with right now with injuries. He had a lot of limited pieces last year to work with based on the roster that we're trying to build here. He's doing pretty darn good work with what he has to work with. People that are saying to fire him and throw him out right now, I'm sorry. I think you're absolutely wrong.
I agree with that. You cannot burn it down now. You got to give it, if for no other reason, that it's going to be a tough year to find candidates because of the CBA.
Yeah.
People are only going to want to sign 1-year contracts. That's part of it because they don't know what it's going to be like after that. That's also going to be a problem with free agency this offseason.
Yep.
Who's going to want to sign when you don't know what the terms are going to be? We might be able to get a bigger pot after that. Maybe I just want to wait, sign a 1-year deal, and then shop myself again with the new CBA because it's probably going to be more lucrative for players that way.
Yep.
So I think, I get that people are frustrated with Patricia, and I get that 9-7 isn't good enough, and now we suck.
Oh, and that is so out of context. I'm just so tired of people harping on that. It's just so silly. I mean, it's ignorant because it's knowingly ignorant. Because he didn't just say 9-7 isn't good enough, period. That's it. And so we're hiring someone who's going to always be better than 9-7. That is not at all what was said. What he said is we saw Caldwell's peak. We really saw who he was.
Jim Caldwell's ceiling was 9-7. And if you ever want to if you want to be 9-7 every year and make the playoffs every other year and probably lose like we did to the Saints in that playoff game where we were completely outclassed, keep Jim Caldwell. That's what the Bengals did with Marvin Lewis for over a decade.
Yep.
Now, you don't want to use the current Bengals as an example because they're oh my God, they're bad.
Right.
They're so bad.
Yeah. At some point, this team has to. Our average tenure of our head coach is 2.5 years for I think like the last 20 years.
Right.
You need to get a system in place. If you continually roll this over and get a different system, you're going to have half a system every time and never know what the heck you
will be the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
You do not want to be the Cleveland Browns. Trust me.
Remember when they were Super Bowl contenders this year?
Yeah, they're 4-6.
Yeah, a little different than they started out the year.
A little bit, yeah.
All right, hey, I gotta hit this really quick. Have you ever heard of those crazy fanatical dudes at Fanatics?
I have.
Yeah, they sell all kinds of great gear.
I will personal testimonial. I ordered from them this week. My son is getting a Christmas present from Fanatics.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. Very good choice. And I'm sure, Riz, you went to Fanatics at DetroitLionsPodcast.com to hook up your son.
Of course. Why wouldn't you do that?
Absolutely. Great way to help the show. They give us a kickback on everything you buy. It doesn't cost you anything more. They actually make less. Why spend it with the man when you have your friends over here talking in the depths of a dark season, helping carry you through? We're here to support you. We're here to support you. Get your college gear, your hockey, your Pistons gear, your Cavaliers gear. I know Case is front of the line to get in this himself on his Cleveland
Ohio University gear. You can give that to honor Frank Solich, the winningest coach in MAC history after last night's 68-34 blowout at Bowling Green.
Very nice, very nice. I saw that. Blandino was watching that. Did you know that?
I did know that, actually.
It was tuned in for the action. Great stuff there at Fanatics. And you just go to fanatics.detroitlionspodcast.com before you go. It takes you don't even know that you pass through. It just sets a quick cookie as you go in, and they give us a kickback on your purchase. And it's a great way to support the show by doing something you're going to do anyway, by showing off your sexy bod.
Grand Rapids Drive gear that I got from Fanatics, too. You probably can't see it.
I go to Fanatics, actually. I shop at Fanatics for my clothes more than probably any other store. I'm always wearing some kind of team gear.
I actually did a hat inventory the other day. I have 32 hats, and like 20 of them are professional or college sports related.
Yeah.
You don't see me without a hat very often when I'm out anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really comfortable in hats. Although since I just got my hair cut here nice and short, it's been kind of nice to go with that.
I gotta give credit. I got a really great haircut yesterday. I was super happy with it, and it was one of those like half haircut, half lap dances because she's like,
it's terrible. I hate that when that happens. I'm sorry, Riz.
Man, that was doubly fun.
The hardest part is to say no to the motorboat, right?
This is every ounce of my being. Gotta tell you.
All right. This is not Lake Saugatuck. I am not doing that. All right. So let's keep moving. Jarrad Davis. My goodness, the man that everybody hated. Get it together, Chris. I didn't mean to break you. Sorry. Jarrad Davis had a huge spike.
He looked good. What the hell? He looked great, didn't he?
We just need to sit him for the first half of the season, I think.
We need to simplify his role.
What?
That's something that's been done. That's something that somebody who's no longer in Detroit suggested that they do, and he got sent out of town for doing it. He was right. Y'all know who I'm talking about without me saying it. Yeah, they have isolated his responsibilities on play. He has one read, and if just like the quarterback, if he has to make the progression in number 2, he's okay. If he's got to go to 3 or 4 or not even know what 1 is off the snap,
right?
Fuck that. He's gone.
Yeah. Yep.
It's out there. They have done a good job of coaching Jarrad Davis and finding what he does well. I do wish they'd blitz him more. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But they are asking him to do less read and react and more instigate, specifically in the run game. And the run defense has improved because he's been better at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good thing. That tells me that Matt Patricia can be a pretty good coach.
Wait a minute. Is he adjusting? Is he growing? Is he moving?
He might be. Might be.
Fire
get
him.
That pencil out and write down good things.
Fire him. Just fire him. We got to burn it all down. That's what we got to do. I heard that on Twitter and on Facebook.
I hear that every 10 minutes, Chris. My Twitter mentions. So for those of you who do interact with me on Twitter, I'm much less on there than I used to be, and that's for my own mental sanity. I need. Well, y'all are nuts, man. Between y'all and Browns fans who are all over the map, it's tough, man. It is not. A lot of people want to have my job. Spend a day looking over my shoulder and look at my paycheck, and you'd be like, I'm good.
Here's one that folks I think need to understand. You spend a lot of time on Facebook, not by choice.
Correct.
Because you have to. And once you've done that, everything else just automatically becomes worse. Because that's really like the gutter. That's the
specifically with Lions fans. Browns Facebook isn't terrible. Lions Facebook is unbelievably toxic, and if you try to bring anything positive, they are going to crap all over you.
And frankly, stupid. I mean, there's some of the dumbest
it's completely irrational.
Yeah. And like I said, it's a septic field of social media.
I'll bring one up. I wrote a thing on Jeff Driscoll being worthy of signing as a long-term backup. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't we got to replace Stafford people, because those people have pretty much shut up this year. Mm-hmm. You don't hear much of that anymore. Thank God. But there were a lot of people who were instantly like, oh, he's just good because we play crap defenses. We played crap teams. Well, you played the Bears and the Cowboys, both of which were top 5 defenses when we went into those games. The Cowboys actually aren't anymore because of what we did to them.
Yeah.
And they don't accept the argument. They don't accept the evidence in there. I did a thing today. I wrote it this morning on Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones not getting separation. They are number 1 and number 4 in lowest separation. And interestingly enough, Golden Tate is between them at number 3. Bob Quinn has a type. He likes guys that don't get open. That's his type. And they're like, oh, well, some of that's got to be on Stafford. Well, no, actually, it's pretty consistent after Driscoll, too. That Golladay actually got less separation.
Yeah.
Well, that means that the defense is just really good against them. Well, no, this is just who they are. They can still be good. They're still both really good players. They just don't get a lot of separation. You have to find ways to incorporate.
I heard it was Martha Ford's fault that Matthew Stafford didn't play. Got to fire Ford.
The people who think that firing or that Martha Ford selling the team will help. I will say, I've said this before, I will say it again. The most logical buyer is Dan Gilbert. You know, I am a Cleveland Cavaliers like. I love the Cavaliers as much or probably even a little bit more than I love the Lions. I lived and died as a Cavs fan for my entire life. Mm-hmm. Like when Kyrie hit that shot, I was bawling on the floor in a ball. My wife will attest to this. I went nuts. one of the happiest moments of my life. I would not want Dan Gilbert to own anything that I would ever love. He drove LeBron away from his hometown twice. Yeah. He won one title with the greatest basketball player of his generation because of his own obstinance. It didn't matter that he wanted to spend money. It didn't matter. He's such a flaming ass bag. Mm-hmm. He drives people away from him. He drives coaches crazy. He's meddling. He's basically Daniel Snyder in the NBA.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't want
great
that.
Example.
He got, and we're going to see Daniel Snyder this weekend, and that's why the Lions are going to
beat the snot up.
I think they're going to win by 20 plus this week. I really do. I think the whoop-ass can is open this weekend.
Yep.
I absolutely do.
I agree 100%. I'll tell you, the one thing, and this may be a little controversial, but my irrational love for Mrs. Ford aside, I think she's the best part of that organization.
I think she and Rod Wood together have been a godsend for the Lions organization.
Yep. Matthew Stafford is great.
You do have to consider that there was an ownership change when William Clay Ford passed away.
Yep.
Martha is not the old Ford regime. She is different.
She has no fingers in the pie. She didn't just hire Bob Quinn because she thought he had beautiful eyes. She engaged Ernie
Accorsi.
Ernie Accorsi, thank you. Engaged Ernie Accorsi. I think he's pretty well respected. A couple of people like him, at least, to go out and help with that hunt to find the right person. This is a lady who knows where her shortcomings are in this and where her expertise doesn't lie. Let's put it that way. I don't want to call it shortcomings, right? She knew it wasn't her area of expertise, but she didn't spare money to find the best person available. She spent a bunch of money on Ernie and a bunch of money on Bob Quinn to get what was the best. Again, a young guy who's learning. He's just getting into his junior season, right? He's just working up to get where he's going to be. It's not a Ford family problem. It's not an ownership problem with this team. And if you say it is, I think you're wrong.
I'm going to instantly
I'll just say it nicely. I think you're wrong.
I'm going to instantly assume that you're a freaking idiot if you say that.
That's another way to put it.
That's my general position. That's my general position on it. If you think that ownership is the reason why this team isn't successful, go swim in Lake St. Clair right now.
Lake Saugatuck. All right, so let's I want to go to another thing really quick because you're talking about the people that think we need to get rid of Stafford. Before the show, we just put a couple of quick bullets together, and you said, well, we should sit Stafford. Now tell me, explain yourself out of that one. I love doing that to you. I love doing that to you.
Bastard. I am channeling Herman Moore.
Okay. That's a good data channel.
Yeah.
Who's taller? Are you or Herman taller?
You know what? I have met him. He's a little bit, he's got just a little bit on me.
Yeah, okay.
Not a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. He's got better posture than I do these days.
Yeah, that's true.
He's older than me too.
And he looks good. He looks really good. I love Herman.
He honestly looks like he can still play.
He does.
He's got to be. He's at least 50.
And he's not spending a bunch of money on shampoo these days. You know what I mean? He could get a little small contract.
He looks good, man. So he said, and I have to give credit to my friend Brandon Folsom from the Bay City paper, whatever the hell that is. And it got picked up by you. It got picked up by USA Today, which is my employer.
Right.
And we ran with it. That he said that he thought that Matthew Stafford should sit the rest of the year because it is a 6-week injury. We are now in week 2.5. So if you do sit you sit the Washington game, you sit the Chicago game, the 6th week would be the next game after that. And help me out on the schedule there. Who do we play after Thanksgiving? I mean, I have not looked that far ahead.
You haven't?
No.
After Thanksgiving?
I should probably know that.
I've got it right here. I'm going to look
this
it
should
up
be reflexive knowledge for me.
It's after Chicago becomes
Is it Tampa?
Vikings.
The Vikings.
In Minnesota, who almost got their butts whooped, by the way, by the Broncos. That was a heck of a meltdown.
Big comeback by Kirk Cousins, Holland's own.
So it's Washington, Bears, Vikings, Buccaneers, Broncos. Look out for them Broncos and the Packers at home.
So if you're going to bring him back, you don't bring him back against the Vikings because they're really good.
Oh yeah, their defense will murder somebody, right?
Yes, they are really good. So then you're looking at we're in week
15 for the Buccaneers. Tampa. Yeah.
Okay, they are not good.
No. I mean, it's a Driscoll win, right?
That is it. That is a game that Jeff Driscoll can win.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you play defense in that game, Jameis Winston is going to give you opportunities to break your interceptionless streak, and I think it's at 243 attempts without an interception. Mm-hmm. We have one takeaway since the bye week.
What happened to that punch? Where's those punches?
People got it on film.
Yeah. They're not punching the ball anymore, though. They're not even trying to punch the ball now.
No. It's Darius Slay had 2 should have been interceptions in the last game.
Oh my God. Difference makers.
That one to the sideline that Amari Cooper caught. Yeah. Holy crap. First off, that is a ballsy throw by Dak Prescott. It's a fantastic catch by Amari Cooper. It should have been a pick 6.
Yeah. So ballsy, I don't give him credit for the ballsy throw. I think that was a really bad decision.
Probably.
Darius.
Probably so.
Oh, Darius should have had that ball.
He just mistimed his hands on it.
Yep. But Cooper, he gets...
That's a phenomenal catch.
Every game there's been one play like that where the other team has been absolutely well defended, and they just drop that ball in absolutely perfect. And I sit there and I say, damn it, but wow, that was pretty.
Again, that's why we're so close, though.
Yeah.
That's why we're close. That's why you keep the system in place, because some of those balls are going to go your way next year.
That's right. All right. So then you skip the Buccaneers because that's a Driscoll win. You're at the Broncos, right? And by the time you're at the Broncos,
you know what? Honestly, that could be a Driscoll win too, because I've had the misfortune of watching the Broncos play a lot this year. They do not handle mobility in quarterbacks at all. That is their biggest downfall on defense. They cover well and they pass rush well. They do not contain that breakout. Jeff Driscoll can murder that. He can run for 100 yards against them.
Yeah.
So I would keep Driscoll in for that. Then you're at that point. You're at the Packers in Week 17,
and you're playing backups.
They will probably be playing backups too, because they will be 12-3 and probably have a home field clinched already.
Yeah, or a bye week. Yeah.
What's the point in that? Let Jeff Driscoll prove to you that he is your long-term backup. You reward him. You sign him for a 3-year deal at the end of the year. Low pay. He will. I guarantee you, Jeff Driscoll would take whatever you offer him to come back next year if it's reasonable. Sure. Guarantee you, he will do that.
Yeah. Now let me ask you.
So ride it out. Let Stafford's back fully heal. Let him not get any complications from it, because we did find out his back injury is not the transverse process. It's not in the lower back. It's in the thoracic region where there are ribs involved.
Right.
When you get that involved, you've got shoulder muscles. You've got your scapula involved in the back of your arm. You come at risk with your hips, because your hips alignment is going to be different, because you're favoring your upper back when you lean back and lean to a side. If you do it at home, like I'm doing right now, you feel it.
It's always worth it to watch the YouTube, folks. It's always worth it.
It absolutely is. He can have complications from it that are not dissimilar to what ended Tony Romo's career. And I don't want that to happen. No. I want Matthew Stafford to be here for a long time, because he's really, really good.
So let me ask you this.
Let Jeff Driscoll play this out. If he gets hurt, you know what? You traded maybe for David Blau. He's not. I watched him this summer. I watched every pass he's ever thrown in preseason. There's something there. He is better than Jake Rudock coming out. 100%.
Okay.
Zero question in my mind there. He has some arm strength. He's not very mobile. He's a little flighty, but there's enough there to work with. Yeah. So I'm perfectly okay with shutting Stafford down, acknowledging that you're a last place team or second to last place team. Because I'll say it right now, I think they're beating the Bears on Thanksgiving. I really do. I think they're going to win the next 2 games, and I think they're going to lose out.
I think they beat Tampa still.
They should expect, because
it's at home.
Tampa.
Yeah, it's at home.
Right.
So here's some 2 questions. Stafford, you tell him you're gonna shut him down for the season. He's a really competitive guy. His wife will be happy, right? Happy wife, happy life, all that kind of thing. Love you, baby.
It will be tough. I think you come to him with the evidence that he's been hurt 2 years in a row. And what benefit do you get out of it other than showing the boys that you're tough? I don't think anybody questions Matthew Stafford's testicular fortitude or toughness.
Yeah, okay, yeah, but I think that's going to be hard for him, right? He's going to have to swallow and think of the big thing.
It will be hard for him.
So now the other side of it is okay. So you remember the old suck for luck that Indianapolis had. So now we're gonna say, okay, we're putting Driscoll in there. We'll get those couple wins, but we're going to draft number 6. Number 7, right?
6 and 7 is probably where I will peg.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you draft a quarterback? Okay, no. Not because you want to replace Stafford, right? You got a decent little crop of boys coming up this year, though, right? And you want to start looking towards the future. And this might, every year is different for quarterbacks, right? You may be able to give one. Not that you want them to start next year. Okay, you don't. But if you do, you're sending one hell of a message to Stafford, right? So you might be hurting yourself in that regard if it's the time to give a guy 2 to 3 to 4 years to 2 to 3 years to sit, right? But you don't want to draft the guy top round 1 and have him sit that long either. That's a little bit more old school.
Teams don't do that anymore.
Yeah. So maybe do, maybe don't. His contract is up in 2 years.
2023 is when they lose control of him.
Okay.
Realistically, his contract is through 2021.
Yeah.
They could technically get out of it next year if they really want to, but that would take a lot of.
Give a guy a year to sit, though, right? So anyway, they're just you put thoughts in people's heads, right?
So the guy you're talking about, if you do that, is Tua Tagovailoa because he's hurt and probably can't play next year.
Mm-hmm.
That would be your option.
Yeah. Okay.
And I tell you what, he's. Put him in a Darrell Buffalo offense with the mobility he has, with the holes that we've seen that are there for Jeff Driscoll.
Right,
might be fun. It's an intriguing option.
And I'm not advocating getting rid of Stafford. I'm just saying, as you look through some of these things, how do these things play out? Right now, here's the other side of the argument. You're going to sign Driscoll for 3 years, right? That locks you up pretty tough for picking up a quarterback. I mean, it depends how the guarantees work and so on.
You can get out of that.
Yeah. Easily.
And you could go 1 year. You could go year by year with him.
Yeah,
there's not going to be a huge demand for him.
Yeah, I think you go 2.
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah,
but
2 years is fine.
The Lions are a team, and please listen. I'm not advocating getting rid of Matthew Stafford or that he's old or washed up. But there's a point. He's been injured 2 years now. You kind of start wanting to think about insurance, right? You run a business. You say, God, boy, we had 2 down years in a row. Well, maybe next year could be down too, right? If you're thinking about strictly in those plans, you need to have something there to cover yourselves. And Jeff Driscoll is not the future, right?
No, he is your backup.
Yeah,
he is not your future starter. He is your backup.
And let's talk about Carry-On, right? Second year guy, injured both years. Everybody's like, oh, maybe this guy can't do it. Let's apply that same thinking to Matthew Stafford real quick. Again, I'm not saying get rid of him. I'm not saying it's true, but if you're terrified of Carry-On, that he's injury prone and going to go away, you have an older Matthew Stafford whose wife doesn't want him to play, right? Not that she doesn't want him to play. She's nervous when he's out there playing all the time. He's got some pressures coming. You have to think about the organization. What is your insurance policy and what is plan B? So that's something that I think maybe not so much this year, but as we start going next year, we're really going to want to, as a team, start thinking about and strategizing about. And I don't know. I've got a little bit of knowledge about this year's quarterback class. I haven't looked far enough ahead to get, I'm not the Riz for the following year. But if the following year is looking
sunshine,
weak,
baby.
Let me tell you, if the 2021 class of quarterbacks is as weak as this last year's class of quarterbacks, I'd be nervous. I'd be nervous right now if I was the Lions in my quarterback position. So that's all.
Yeah.
All right. Let me do really quick. I want to talk about those crazy knuckleheads at Amazon. That bald guy who's going to buy the Lions and the Washington Post and all that.
Move him to London and
yeah.
Where the hell did that rumor come from? By the way, that is the stupidest thing ever. Well, get back to your read.
Fake news. Yes. He's a Russian plant. He's a spy. We know everything about Bezos. Why are you shopping at Amazon without going to amazon.detroitlionspodcast.com? It's the only way to fight the man. Go there. We get a cut of his profits every time you buy something when you do that. That's right. You go to amazon.detroitlionspodcast.com. You take a little bit of money out of Bezos' pocket and you donate it to your favorite podcast in the world. What better way to stick it to the man? Yeah. Stick it to the man and help your good friends over here at Detroit Lions Podcast. Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Anytime you go shopping there, go to Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. You won't even know, other than typing a little longer, you won't even know you did anything. And bingo, bango, baby, it's a good deal. There you go. Thank you for everyone who helps us out there. All right, so we talked about Stafford sitting. We talked about Jarrad Davis. How far away are the wins? I don't think we landed on a hard answer to that, but we know they're close. They're
close,
but
and
not
they
are.
They are closer with Matt Patricia as their coach next year than without him.
Mm-hmm.
No matter who they would hire, and oh, by the way, we'll tie in the CBA thing again. What attractive coach is going to want to go in for 1 year? Let's say you want Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you want PJ Fleck from Minnesota. You want a college guy, or you want a young up and coming Eric Bieniemy from the Chiefs. He's going to be head coach sooner than later.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
He's an interesting choice.
Sleeping with Bieniemy, right?
Yes.
Sorry, that's a
throwback. One of the greatest Permanisms ever.
Yeah, it's a throwback for you old folks.
Yeah. So there will be guys out there, but are they going to want to commit when there is uncertainty towards the 2021 season?
Mm-hmm.
The dynamics of how they are going to get paid, how much of the pie they are going to get as players and as coaches and as organizational spending is going to change. That's a bad time to be in a transition. You don't want to have 1 year and then transition into that and like, you know what, we're going to miss the first 5 games. Screw that. I'm going to go coach Oregon State.
Yeah.
They're going to pay me more anyways.
Yep. And
be there for 5 years. They don't care.
Yeah. Yep, give me that.
That's a very real dynamic. That is one of the reasons why there is no way I can see Matt Patricia getting fired this year.
A lot of teams are going to sit on bad coaches this year.
The Cleveland Browns are going to sit on Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah, and it's not because they don't want to win. And I think what this is going to lead to, interestingly,
Bill O'Brien's going to stay in Houston, even though he's all in for this year, and they're going to lose in the first round.
He should have been gone a long time. So I think what you're going to see is a whole lot of people, bad coaches, keeping their jobs that otherwise wouldn't, and you're going to see that gap between teams expand. You're going to see the Patriots type excellent teams rise higher and set a much bigger gap between that kind of a team and a Cleveland Browns, because it's just going to keep separating because people are standing pat on bad stuff and not getting better. Is that good, bad, or otherwise? I don't know. But a lot of teams who do have those bad coaches are going to be setting themselves up for a really good draft after the CBA. So they better hope the CBA is friendly to them in the draft process, like it wasn't for the Lions when we had to carry Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson.
And Ndamukong Suh.
Oh, that was terrible.
40% of your cap in 3 players.
Yep.
Completely untenable. For the people who think that that's still an issue, it's really not. Matthew Stafford's contract, after the next wave of quarterbacks signed, he's going to be in the teens in compensation. He will be underpaid after guys like Dak Prescott get paid.
Yep.
They paid over market early, so at the end of his contract he's at market.
Yep.
It's a fair deal. It is not preventing them from doing squadouche. They do not have cap problems anymore. And a lot of that was because they let Ndamukong Suh go and ruin Miami's cap. Look at the Dolphins now. They're bad. And some of that is because they're still paying Ndamukong Suh like $14 million this year. So and he hasn't been there in 2 years.
Yeah. God, I'm glad we didn't sign that contract.
I am too. Oh. And I loved the guy.
Everybody was mad when we didn't. And it's just in retrospect,
he would have been a great force. And I would have loved to have seen him in Matt Patricia's defense, but the economics did not work out. It didn't make sense.
No, not at all. All right, we'll move on to the final topic of the week. We talked a little bit about Dan Snyder and our love and his high football IQ. I really expect to see him on the sidelines this week, calling plays. A look ahead to the Redskins. I don't know how much more absurd I can get. I think I took it to the edge there. This is a game that the Lions are certainly going to lose. The Redskins obviously Super Bowl champions with a team 53 Hall of Famers, first round, first ballot. Is there anything else to say about this game, Riz, or did I just wrap the whole thing up?
You got it, man. In your bizarro world, you nailed it.
It is all bizarro over here.
They're rough, man. Oh. They are what happens when you fire a coach mid-season and don't have any plan on how to replace them.
Yeah.
They are bad. They are starting Dwayne Haskins, who I liked in the draft. He is not ready.
What about Hankins? Should we have gotten him? Sorry, I couldn't. I had to pull that one out one more time.
Somebody tweeted at me that, and I was in on the joke, but the other people who were watching it weren't in on it, and they're like slamming the guy. I'm like, look, dude, this is an inside joke. It's funny to me. I'm sure it's funny to him too. I appreciated it. Haskins is not. He's not good. Their offensive line is talented, but they don't play well together.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Peterson still can do some things.
It's crazy at his age how good he is. He's not spectacular, but wow. Still wow.
And Terry McLaurin's a problem. If they're going to win the game, Terry McLaurin, their wide receiver from Ohio State, that kid's really good.
Love that guy at the Shrine game.
He's really good.
Yeah.
And he's going to be special for a long time. One of the problems they have is they have nobody else who can catch. Nobody. They don't do things intelligently. If you want an impetuous, I always say that wrong.
Impetuous. It's a little bit of pesto.
An impetuous owner who makes bad decisions endemically, that is Daniel Snyder for you.
Yeah.
And I will say this, I lived in Richmond, Virginia, which is a very huge Redskins area when he bought the team. And I watched people within 2 years realize that, oh my God, this guy is the plague.
Yeah.
We are never going to be good again because of him. And you know what? They haven't been. It's been 20 years now. And they're rotten. They have some talent. Ryan Kerrigan is still a good player. They have some talent. They just do not play well together. And you're going to see that this weekend. You're going to see the Lions expose them. You're going to see the Lions score at least 30 points. And I think they're only going to give up 14 to 17, maybe 20.
Please don't get high on a defense on this one game, folks.
No, that's exactly right, because they are playing a rookie quarterback who is not ready behind a line that is not as good as the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
I think you can probably say that about Detroit's line most of the time too, but we're better than them in that.
Yeah. McLaurin is going to absolutely be the thing that tests our defense.
And he will beat Darius Slay once.
Slay and Walker. You got to double. You got to double up on him. Yep.
Yeah. You need to do that. Make them beat you with other people.
Yep.
This would, as much as I hate to say, this is not a bad week to only rush 3 and drop people, because Dwayne Haskins is not going to see the people who are dropping. And that's more of an indictment on Dwayne Haskins. And he will learn. Yeah. He will get better. Yeah. I do like his long-term prognosis. I really do. I was high on him coming out, and I have seen some things to like, but he's not there, folks.
Right.
I'll say this, if the Lions lose this game, if they give up 28 points or more to Washington, then it's going to be that's going to be really bad, because then
you'll have a mid-season Pasqualoni firing, because there's got to be someone to hang for that.
Yeah, because this team cannot do that to any normal team. They really can't. That would just be a sign of your terrible defense, and that would be very objectionable, to be kind.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Riz, we were going to do like a quick show today. We didn't. It's normal. We had just a couple topics that we were able to talk about. I'm going to try to free you up to spend time with the family. I appreciate you coming in for a case this week who had he's got some serious stuff going on at work. He's getting crazy. And Riz has been able to
miss you, Case.
Yeah, but Riz, you've been filling in. You're a good man. You're a good man for doing it. Thank you very, very much for helping keep us rolling.
My pleasure to be here for the peeps.
For the peeps. All right, remember, show needs your involvement. Use the comments in the subreddit to give us your feedback. We love your feedback. It helps make us better. And don't forget about us on Patreon. Patreon. Patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. Get in there on that monthly donation. Get access to the Slack and the great giveaways that we've got going on. Waiting for the text right now on those tickets. Chicago Thanksgiving ticket giveaway. Ooh. If you're in the Slack, we'll do the giveaway in the Slack on that when we get those tickets in. So enjoy that. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Detroit Lions Podcast, Instagram, DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Or no, it's just Detroit Lions Podcast. Sorry. Also follow us on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast. DET Lions Podcast is the very best place to see the Riz.
No pants.
He's dancing. No pants dance. Give us a call via Skype at Detroit Lions Podcast, all one word, or call us on the Lions line at 929-33-LIONS. 929-335-4667.
Somebody do that, please, and call in when you're intoxicated because it's a lot more fun for me that way.
There will be a post-game show this week, we promise, and you can get a good shot at it there. Be sure to go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com and subscribe to the podcast so we can come inside your important places automagically. Thank you for tuning in, and we're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions Podcast. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs. Not yet. No problems, because we're your Detroit Lions and Reddit connection.